What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, Terence Bud Crawford, undefeated 3-division world champion, former junior welterweight undisputed world champion, currently the reigning undisputed welterweight world champion, who is widely recognized and acknowledged as the #1 best pound-for-pound fighter in the world, superstar, with a record of 40 wins, no losses, no draw, 31 big wins by way of knockout. He is 35 years of age, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. Everybody's coming out now and they're saying that Terence Crawford is avoiding and ducking after the biggest win, the most lucrative fight of his career, as he defeated former now top 10 pound-for-pound, former unified 3-belt WBA, WBC, IBF welterweight world champion, superstar boxer, Errol the Truth Spence Jr., which was July 29th, Las Vegas, Nevada, T-Mobile Arena. Errol Spence Jr. is now 28 wins, 1 loss, no draws, 22 big wins by way of knockout. He is 33 years of age, 5'9.5" with a 72-inch arm reach. Everybody's saying that Terence Crawford, after that fight, where he dropped Errol Spence 3 times and stopped him in the 9th round. Dropped him in the 2nd round, twice in the 7th round, and stopped him in the 9th round. Dominating performance. That Errol Spence fight with Terence Crawford wasn't competitive, as many people expected it. And now people are saying that Errol Spence needs to take time off. Errol Spence needs to retire. And now Terence Crawford is avoiding and ducking undefeated welterweight, superstar, title contender, the phenom, as I refer to him as, in Jaron Boots Ennis. Jaron Boots Ennis is now 31 wins, no losses, no draws, 28 big wins by way of knockout, 26 years of age, 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. A phenom, as I call Jaron Boots Ennis, okay? He's 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. Taller, 2 inches taller than Terence Crawford, same arm reach as Terence Crawford, and he is versatile like Terence Crawford. Fights southpaw and orthodox. He can fight in both manner. He can switch, right? And that's the greatest asset that people point to when they describe Terence Crawford's style. Well, Terence Crawford fought Errol Spence. He fought completely in the southpaw stance. Never switched to orthodox. Stayed solely southpaw, okay? As I stated, as Terence Crawford gets older in age, he's becoming predominantly a southpaw. Nonetheless, he had a better jab, faster hands, faster feet. And so people now, they're clamoring and calling for this fight and saying that Terence Crawford is avoiding and ducking Jaron Boots Ennis. Jaron Boots Ennis was the IBF, International Boxing Federation, mandatory challenger for Errol Spence's IBF title, okay? Errol Spence lost. Terence Crawford absorbed that. He absorbed Jaron Ennis, and he absorbed that IBF title, right? And so people are saying that he's ducking Jaron Boots Ennis now. And Terence Crawford responds by saying that if this fight with me and Errol Spence didn't have me and Errol Spence have a conversation, okay, and me and Errol Spence talk on the phone, this fight would have never came to fruition, right? If it wasn't for Errol Spence, we would have never even had this fight. You would have never witnessed this greatness, and you would not have been able to completely see my full potential on the biggest stage. Terence Crawford is contractually obligated to give Errol Spence a rematch. Errol Spence is calling for the fight to take place at junior middleweight, 154. Terence Crawford has stated that it's not easy for him to make 147 pounds anymore. Terence Crawford is 35. He's been in welterweight 147 for 5 years and 8 fights, right? So he's been at this weight class for an extremely long period of time. And Terence Crawford is saying that it's just too long. I've been here for too long. I can't stay. It's not easy for me to make. Errol Spence can't do it. Many people feel like the reason Errol Spence lost and didn't look like himself to begin with is because he was weight drained. So they want the immediate rematch. The problem is, so now everybody's saying, well, they don't want to see that because it wasn't competitive. So the next best thing to be able to dethrone Terence Crawford is Jaron Boots Ennis. Now, you guys know that this is a fight that I have been clamoring for forever. I even partook in trying to attempt to make this fight come to fruition between Boots Ennis and Terence Crawford. It didn't come to fruition for whatever reason. Okay. But I was one that tried to push for this fight to come to fruition. So I'm one that, you know, I want to see this fight. And I think that I'm extremely high on Jaron Boots Ennis and his skill set and his talent. And I want to see him get his opportunity. Unfortunately for Jaron Boots Ennis in this situation, he's a generation behind Terence Crawford and Errol Spence. And the fight that the world wanted to see is Terence Crawford fight Errol Spence. And so now it's on to the next best thing, because now people have a lot of disdain for Terence Crawford and they want to see him lose. And so many people don't believe that Errol Spence represents that can beat Terence Crawford after witnessing what they witnessed. And so the next best option is Jaron Boots Ennis and his skill set. Well, he won't be able to do that to Jaron Ennis. It's a 50-50 fight. Unfortunately for Jaron Boots Ennis, Terence Crawford and Errol Spence have a rematch clause. And Terence Crawford feels like he owes it to Errol Spence because, like he said, they didn't value me and Errol Spence valued me. And I'm forever respectful to Errol Spence for that. And now we're going to make this fight happen. As you saw at the weigh-in where Errol Spence said, you ain't got to thank me for making this fight happen. And Terence Crawford said, you ain't got to thank me either. We did it together. And then Errol Spence said, and we're going to get a bag. A lot of mutual respect. But now it's hard sell to the fans. So you have Showtime President Sports Steven Espinosa. He comes out and he says he's not even sure if we even get the rematch between Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. He says, and if it does happen, it happens late next year. At best, early 2024. Errol Spence wants the rematch in December. He's calling to have the rematch happen in December. Errol Spence is running out of time before he, you know, has to make a decision ultimately when he's going to fight. Errol Spence has 8 days. He has 8 days to make a decision right now on the rematch clause, because he got 30 days from the initial fight. The fight was July 29th. Today is August 22nd. So Errol Spence has 8 days to make a decision whether he's going to fight Terence Crawford in the rematch. But we already know his decision because he's told the world multiple of times that he wants this fight immediately at 154 in December. And we know the boxing commissioner in Las Vegas conceded to that because they only suspended him for 2 months. His suspension is lifted September 28th. So he's more than available and capable of fighting in December. Me personally, I think he should take time off. Terence Crawford said he feel like he should take time off, but he owes it to him, embedded in him, to give him the rematch, because if Errol Spence didn't make the decision, like Errol Spence stated, it's up to me and Terence Crawford to prove these suits wrong that didn't believe in us. So Steven Espinosa is saying it shouldn't happen till early next year, late next year, because it's a hard sell this year to convince the fans to put up the money after what they saw and wasn't competitive. So they don't believe they'll get a return on their investment if it happens in December. I'm sure they would much rather see Errol Spence go up to 154, have another fight, have a victory, possibly fight Tim Tszyu for the WBO title, beat Tim Tszyu, become a world champion in 2 divisions, convince the world that it was the weight that was a problem, and then you can sell to the fans a Terence Crawford Errol Spence rematch. But it was so one-sided and non-competitive that they don't believe that they'll get a return on their investment. So I'm certain that, like he stated that being Steven Espinosa, he stated that Errol Spence, as a team, they're going to come up with a plan. Well, Errol Spence told us from the very beginning what his plan was. So why are they coming up with a plan? Because, again, it has to make sense. So Terence Crawford is not avoiding Jaron Boots Ennis. Jaron Boots Ennis just happens to be a step behind everybody. In this situation, Terence Crawford, Errol Spence, he's just a generation behind them, right? And the big fight everybody wanted to see was them. And so now Terence Crawford wants to go to 54. Errol Spence wants to go with 154. And he's obligated for a rematch. And business-wise, as Steven Espinosa said, he would love to see Jaron Boots Ennis fight Terence Crawford. That's a big fight he would love to make. But he also stated that it's not going to generate the money that Terence Crawford is looking for. So he wants, essentially, either wants Terence Crawford to take a pay cut, or he don't see this fight being feasible for Terence Crawford. So Terence Crawford is not ducking Jaron Ennis at this point in time. Period. So let's see how this all unfolds and plays out. Keith Thurman needs to be fighting Jaron Ennis instead of us having Mario Barrios fight against Yordanis Ugas for the WBC interim title. It should be Keith Thurman fighting Jaron Ennis for the WBC belt that Terence Crawford is getting ready to vacate. Period. So in the same manner the WBO stripped Jermell Charlo immediately, that's what needs to happen with Keith Thurman and Jaron Ennis. That's the fight, the next fight, that validates either Terence Crawford or Errol Spence fighting Jaron Ennis in the next fight after what they did. Period. Jaron Ennis needs to get his opportunity. But that's all I got for y'all, man. Make sure you hit the like button. Drop a comment in the comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Y'all already know what it is. It's your boy Blue, Blue Blood Sports TV. Hate, like, comment, and subscribe. You haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell icon to get all the new notifications. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all in one word. That's all I got for y'all. I'm going. Peace.